Hi, my name is Jakob Melander. This is The House That Jack Built, my first novel. It's out now, and I'm going to read a bit from it. I'm going to jump in when we meet my main character, Lars Winkler, for the first time. John Paul Jones' falling bass line provided a gloomy backdrop for Jimmy Page's spine-tingling guitar work. The Fender bass and Telecaster guitar resounded in his head in that indescribably fantastic way that made music better than drugs and almost as good as sex. Led Zeppelin's entire first album was stored on the internal hard drive of his mind. It was only a matter of switching it on and off whenever he saw fit. The lyrics to Dazed and Confused had never felt more true than today. The soul of one woman, at least, really was created below. Hey, are you listening? On the other side of the large, dark desk, Ulrik Sommer, Chief Inspector of the Copenhagen Police Violent Crime Unit, was silhouetted against the enormous panoramic window. His face was one black surface, apart from the eyes. They were gleaming. Yes, Detective Sergeant Lars Winkler rocked his almost 6 feet, 6 inches, 44-year-old body back and forth on the balls of his heels, closed his eyes. The office smelled of linoleum, dust, and stale sweat. Lars opened his eyes. Looking beyond the silhouette of his old friend, he gazed down Edvard Fællesgade and over the treetops of Tivoli Gardens, at the Starflyer's towering spire and the Ferris wheel's gondolas. Beyond was the Radisson Blu Royal Hotel, and to the right the New Carlsberg Bibliotek's museum's small oasis of a garden. It had rained overnight, leaving the city fresh and clean. Ulrik had had this view for many years, and there was no reason it shouldn't remain so. But inside, in the room, everything had changed. Somewhere along the line, he and Ulrik had passed a turning point. But Ulrik didn't seem to understand that. The Chief Inspector of the Copenhagen's Violent Crime Unit rubbed his forehead, looked at his desk pad, and fiddled with the top button of his uniform. Then he cleared his throat. Where did you go? Lars looked away, coughed. I got on a plane to Athens, rented a car, and drove until I couldn't go any farther. I see. And where was that? Does it really matter? Well, as a matter of fact, Ulrik sighed, I am your friend. You wouldn't know it. Lars looked away. He had to get out, now. All right, Kato Vasiliki, a little seaside resort for Greeks. Nothing to do. A hole, really. Ulrik appeared to be thinking. He was good at that, appearing to be thinking. It was that ability more than anything else that had given him the extra star on his epaulets. Then he smiled. It spread over his entire face. So, everything's fine then. Ulrik folded his hands on top of the desk. I'm glad you had a nice vacation. If anyone around here deserved one, it was you. He paused. I'm prepared to let things continue as they were. I hope that... Ulrik didn't look him in the eye when he spoke. Lars wasn't listening. It was strange, really. He hadn't realized before how much Ulrik looked like a weasel. The animal's mouth opened and closed, but no sound emerged. Lars tried to feel something, tried to find his anger, but it was gone. There was only a vast, empty hole. The weasel's mouth formed sounds, words. And to show you that I'm serious, I've kept this for you. Lead inspector on a murder investigation. It was called into HQ half an hour ago, out on Amager Commons. The weasel passed a thin case file across the desk. Lars reached out to accept it. They brushed hands. Both looked away. Ulrik got up, ran a hand down his uniform. Welcome home. It's good to have you back. He hesitated. Then he held out his hand. Lars moved the case file to his other hand, then shook Ulrik's outstretched hand. Hold on, Ulrik said. There's a girl from Kolding joining us. They say she's very bright. She's here to see how we do things in the big city. I thought you'd keep an eye on her. You know, help her out a bit. Ulrik looked at a piece of paper on his desk. Bissen. Sanne Bissen. Lars scrunched up his eyes and sighed. Just what he needed. I'll go down and get a car.